your communication sucks. And this kind of started because I saw you post a couple things about communication, and I don't know if it was necessarily sex driven, because I know that's kind of like your platform, or just talking about people, or like talking to people about being okay with sex and intimacy and all that. And so I don't know if that's where it started, but when you said communication, that hit me in a different way, because we don't talk about, of course, that in a lot of ways. I think that oftentimes we feel like we're able to communicate effectively. I don't know if that's true. So if you had to give me your definition of what effective communication is, what would that be?
I would just say effective communication would be just the giving and receiving of data. Giving and receiving the data.
Yeah. And being able to, for people to articulate it, being able to receive it.
Yeah, but when we talk about communication, communication is one of those terms can be so broad and you can interpret it how you want to. But if you think about the basis of communication, it is giving and receiving data. Now we can add in all the things that make a healthy communication, like environment, intention, root, just a lot of different things that can help healthy communication. But if you think about the basis of communication, it's just exchanging data. And then data can be reality, perspectives. So that's
There's
what I would
levels
say.
to
That
it.
I would just say what the basis of communication is.
Yeah. What would you say that the basis of effective, so for the other person, parties, whoever, to be able to receive you, like what would that be for you?
I think that both parties need to have the intentions, the good intentions. So understanding why they want to communicate this data and being prepared to even receive this data. So I would say that part, to being able to give and receive it. I think is the biggest thing is that I share is intention. You have to have an intention to listen. You have to have intentions to share. And what do you want to share? So I think that
Yeah.
is like the basis of it.
So I've learned that communication, and of course, just over time and over years, I've learned that communication is way more than just words.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would probably argue that it's a lot about nonverbal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that people are affected a lot more by like your facial expressions, your tone, your body language. I've heard it said like this: nonverbal communication should reinforce what is being said and what is not being contradicted. You agree with that? Because I think sometimes we get a little animated, we get a hyped up when it comes to communication. I think that communication is so passionate at times that we come with all of the things, the hands, the neck, and the voice. How important is it for us to kind of regulate and be like to know like those sort of things isn't the most appropriate at certain times? Or like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think that everybody think communication is the key, and
Yeah.
I'm the one who don't believe communication is the key. I think emotional regulation is the key.
Oh, so
Emotional
good.
regulation is the key because no matter how you give and receive, if you don't regulate your body and your environment doesn't support it, you can't do it, right? You're not going to be able to even give or receive the message. And it all has to do with our body, just like you said, the tension and everything like that. So how you let your body do it is like triggering how you going to be able to receive. So if you're not relaxed, if you're anxious, you're not going to be able to listen. Your ears going to fall off. So communication is said to be the key, but I believe emotional regulation is the bigger key. And then when you go into like the nonverbal thing like that, nonverbals are good that support it, but nonverbals are left up to interpretation. So even though, nonverbals are good, nonverbals assist with the communication, but they still leave you up to interpretation, and you still going on because I do this or do that. You assuming something, and you just don't take, and you may be reacting to that nonverbal, but it just can be anxiety, anxiousness, hunger, anything like that make me feel like that don't mean I want to be like that. So I say that everything is up to interpretation. So that's why we need to say, hey, what's going on? How do you feel? Don't interpret nonverbals all the time, because that's how a lot of people, when they start like, what's wrong with you? I could just be tired, right? But if I interpret that and I project and I focus on that, my intentions are deterred. Okay. So I like that you said, like, your nonverbals and everything like that. It is, but I just want to say, for healthy communication, make sure you're not projecting what you feel that the interpretation is and putting it in your dialogue, because that can steer from going right to left.
That's so good. Listen, as a manager, and I manage a team of 6 people, 6 different people, 6 sort of different personalities. And I've learned that over time that timing is everything. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm like trying to back away from conversation, but I do think that there's a time and there's a place, and it's not necessarily situational. I just need to see how the other person is feeling. Is this the right time? How do you feel like people are introducing conversations? And I'm talking about tough conversations, not the happy ones, not the ones that we know are way more easier to engage into, but when we're kind of upset, when we're irritated, and when we're mad, do you have a sort of blueprint to when we should start having those conversations, or when's a good time? Or like, how do you look at having difficult conversations with people, and does timing play anything into that?
Yeah, timing is a good factor, but also your intentions. Remember, everything starts with you. What are your intentions? Is your intentions to share, to vent, to criticize? What are your intentions? So if you got good intentions and you want
Yeah.
to go in, you're not going to be swayed by different things, because you'd be like, if just like miscommunication, be like, hey, I didn't mean that. Hey, let's go back to that. My intention is to share this information. Okay. The next thing is environment. Is it the right environment to have this conversation? Is it a
Give
safe
me an example of
environment?
an environment. Give me an example.
Environment can be like, I'm gonna say environment can be like in the morning before we rushed off to work, or when we
Mm,
first get in, or in the middle of the night, or texting me doing work. Environment is the key. Environment is another key, because you have to understand, is this a safe and trusted environment to have a deep conversation? People be
yeah.
wanting to have these deep conversations when it's not appropriate. And that leads me to priority. Just because something is your priority does not mean it's the receiver's priority. Okay. So we got to say, like, if you interpret like this is on your
That's so
mind and
good.
you've been ruminating about it, this is projecting, you projecting in that energy, and the listener may not feel that's not a priority to them. So because
That's
of
so
that,
good.
that's when the intentions come in. Be like, hey, I just want to share this with you. Another thing is consent. Just because somebody is present don't mean they're present. So just
Mm,
because somebody's sitting next to you, or at their desk, or laying in the bed, or on their phone, don't mean they're fully present to have a conversation. That's why I say consent is so sexy. Hey, do you have time for this? And more often, not even time, do you have space?
ooh.
So
Wait,
to
wait,
go
wait,
back
wait,
to the
wait, wait.
priority.
No, 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 no. Absolutely not. We're not skating by past those parts. Hold on. Hold on. Because when I think about communication, it's normally the person that's bringing it to a person, right? You're not even trying to figure out if they're in a space or in a time where they can even receive it, right? And so you're saying there's like steps to this?
Yeah, it's
That's
levels, it's
like
steps.
that
Yeah,
it's levels, it's steps that supersede the person that's actually bringing it up.
yeah.
Okay, go back. I wasn't sorry about that. Ooh. That
But
hit me.
what did you hit with the thing? You said healthy and effective communication,
That's it,
right?
Renelle.
If you want to
Yes.
communicate, you can just talk at me. But if you want to
All
talk to
day.
me, you got to make sure I'm there and I'm present and I'm able to hold it so I can give it back. If you just dump on me, then you're going to say we're not communicating effective. You know, we're not communicating effectively, right? We're communicating. It's just that you want me to say you're right. You just want me to be there for you. You just want me to be a sounding board. But when I get back, oh, we're not communicating. And that's some kind of
Yeah.
misinterpreted with everything, because I don't have space for all this. And that's why even the listener has a responsibility just as much as the giver is. Hey, you know what? I see that you want to talk about something. I really don't have space for that right now. Or this is not a good time. Right? Don't
That's
allow
good.
somebody into your zone if you really can't are not prepared for them. Because what happens to that, that's going to lead to a lot of misinterpretation, assumptions, and miscommunication. What's the biggest thing people argue about? You don't hear me. You don't see me. You don't
Yeah, I
listen
don't
to
feel
me.
seen. I
Yeah,
don't feel
that's the same
heard. I
thing.
don't feel seen. I don't, yeah.
And a lot of that people say, I work with couples, a lot of couples don't feel seen. One is because one, they want to talk about something that the partner don't want to hear. They talking about the same stuff. They talking at them. They're just like machine gun, and they just shooting off. You know, one concern at a time. The human brain can't process all of that. So you have to
Yeah.
make sure you speaking to a point that you want a response back. And a listener has to be settled and emotionally regulated to hear, to not rebuttal, but understand. But that leads us to a whole nother thing. It's the desire.
Yeah.
No,
Because even
you
when
know
you're,
I was gonna hit that sex thing. You know, it
it
got to go to
should,
desire.
it
You got to have
should,
a
it should.
desire to want to listen. You have to desire to want to be heard, right? You have the desire. I have to have the desire that I want to communicate effectively. And if you had that desire, you're going to make sure in that conversation that the person that's listening, hey, does that make sense to you? How did that land? How do you feel about that? Instead of waiting till an hour later and be like, you got something to say? No.
Mm. Woo. What I hear you saying is that communication isn't just about what the person that's explaining it to a person. It's not just about that. It's about, can they receive what you're trying to say? Like, can it really be effective? As at the end of the conversation, they like, yo, you came to me mad left. You was rude. You were yelling. Like, I didn't even hear you. Maybe some of the things that you were saying could have been valid, but you came at me at a time where I wasn't ready to receive. You named off 90 different things that I cannot process.
Right.
And so are there a number of things that you should only explain in, or so just say if me and you have an issue, right? And I have 5 different things that I have a checklist on for Renelle. Renelle, then this. I got 5 things. Lighten you up. Because now I'm irritated. You done got on my nerves. And I done held it on for years.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a level, or should there be something where it's like, don't come at me at 5 different things? I cannot process that. Give me one, allow me to dissect that. Or do you feel like it depends on the person who's able to receive it, who's saying, tell me more, let me know how I can show up more? What does that
It's,
look like for
it's,
you?
it's based on your intentions. Is your intentions to vent, to dump, to get that out, or is your intentions to solve, to have a fluid conversation? Because then I'm gonna say one concern per breath. When you gotta
Ooh,
go, when you gotta take a breath, you're doing too
ooh.
much.
Wait a minute, wait a
Relax.
minute. One what?
One concern per breath. And some of us are long-winded, right? Some of us are long-winded, but then again, you got to understand the capacity of the receiver. right? You got to understand it. Are you giving them time? Is this a fluid conversation? Because we can get very selfish because we want to be heard. We want to, our testimony to be witnessed. I want you to know how I feel. So if you want that, just tell me like, hey, I just need to get something off my chest. Then I know I'm listening. But if you want a fluid conversation, you got to give me time. Right. And sometimes with my couples, I have them because we got the people interrupt, right? That problem with interrupting. Sometimes in couples, we give them a pillow or a pen, or sometimes in relationships, you just have to teach, if you really listening, how you got time to interrupt? If you can just say, like, even consensual, hey, are you done? Or for the person talking to be like, hey, I'm finished now. What do you think? You got to invite them in. So really, I'm going to go back to it. It's desires, what you have for the conversation, and it's the intentions you set forth if you want effective communication.
So I feel like you came for my soul. And I'm gonna tell you how I feel like you came for my soul, because one of my biggest communication struggles has been my inability to shut my mouth while someone is talking. I feel like my rebuttal game be on swole, like, because I'm coming to the conversation already loaded. I know how I feel. I already know what you're about to say, X, Y, and Z, right? Like I'm jumping ahead, not allowing a person to truly articulate what they're trying to say. And I know this it's not sexy, but it's my truth. And I wanted to have this conversation with you because I feel like the gaps that I need to fill is only through people that's around me. And so I wanted to have this effective communication because I know I'm not the best at it. I jump in. If I don't say what I'm about to say, I may lose my thought. I don't want to be writing something down while somebody's talking. And I'm like, all right, this is how I feel. So I jump in too quickly. And it normally happens when I feel like I'm misunderstood or being attacked. So how can we, or me, or anybody else on this live, work on avoiding interrupting or trying to redirect the conversation to solely make it about us and our emotional experience?
I think that we're going to go back. It's not that hard. You just got to have that willingness.
Yeah.
That willingness to understand your emotions, feeling. That's just for awareness. You don't have to act on them or become them.
Yeah.
If you misunderstood, you don't have to move like that because it's going to create more misunderstandings. That's why we go back to that core of emotional regulation. If you like that, I'm going to say it's not a good time for you to have that conversation. And maybe you
Yeah.
need to process, like you said, write stuff down until you're able to regulate your body to hear. Because if I'm talking to you about something, how is it fair that you just spin it on you and tell me how you feel? So that's a lot of things, and see what you're getting defensive of. And that's when we just got to sit with that stuff. Remember that intention, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what's making you defensive, and be able to advocate for yourself. You know what? I'm ready to hear this conversation, but like, let's just set some perimeter, your tone, your delivery. But we do a thing like, I know you don't feel like that, but sometimes when you go up, it make my ears fall off. Let them know what keep you more engaged.
Mm, that's
Sometimes
so
you have that
good.
disclaimer. Sometimes you can have that
Yeah.
disclaimer. Hey, we sitting down here. I just want to let you know that I want to hear you. Let's just keep the volume down. Or let's do like this. Sometimes we can set the stage and create the environment that we want if we really want it to be effective.
So what is this really about? Again, that word intention is just hitting me differently. I have never in my life thought about communication in the sense of what's really my intention.
What are your
Is
attention?
it what are your intentions? Is your intentions to just get your needs met? Is your intentions to really listen to the other person? Is it to have a healthy dialogue? I think that oftentimes it's a dumping session. Our intentions is to tell you how I feel and how I feel it and how you made me feel. And now I'm
Okay.
mad, I'm upset, I'm irritated, right? That's not effective. Like maybe you feel that way, but then there's another person on the other end who's receiving something totally different, who also has a mutual benefit in this dialogue, and we're not really giving them the space to feel safe. I also feel like safety is part of healthy communication
It
too.
is. It
Like,
is.
yeah, do I feel safe to tell you these things? Do I feel safe enough to feel like you heard me? You appreciate me. Coming at somebody sideways, neck left, hands up, people don't really receive that. It's a defense mechanism that anybody on the
And your
receiving
body
end.
gonna feel trauma. Your
Yes,
body gonna feel attacked. So that's why I always go back to the body for effective communication. That's why I say emotional regulation is the key.
that's so
If I
good.
feel attacked, my ears fell off because I gotta make sure I gotta run? Do we gotta fight? What do I have to do?
Yeah,
If
what
your
is this
body
about?
language and you're hollering and it's my triggers, and my triggers are awareness. It's not to project on it like you're triggering me. I'm not saying that, be like, man, what's going on? You know, with me, where I'm feeling like that, oh, they're yelling. That makes me feel like when my mom used to yell at me or my dad. So I'm
Yo,
already projecting. So that's why we have to do that consent. Do you have space? Prepare me for what you want me to be ready for. And
that's
it doesn't
so
always have to be
good.
bad. And I'm not saying it all has to be bad, but I'm just saying when you say for difficult conversations come from extreme circumstances that we got to create. So, and then that's the point, we label it as difficult. When you say I got to have this difficult conversation, my body is remembering what difficult conversations do. So I'm already in
Ooh,
a defense mode. That's why the
that's good.
body is so important. Somatic understanding is so important. Emotional regulation is so important in our daily lives, and we don't do it.
Oh, I
So even the
had,
words, how you describe it, is preparing me for the bullshit,
yep,
right? So my
off
body
top.
ready. I need to talk
Yep.
to you. Why are you gonna say you need? That's gonna trigger me, right? Because I'm gonna go back and I teach people how different ways they start the conversation, so you can create a more red carpet to honor the conversation, honor the person, honor what they had to say, good or bad, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about those ways. What are sexy, loving, compassionate ways to enter what we would call a tough conversation? Give us some talking points.
When before I say something, and I'm talking about relationships, okay? So I'm
Fine.
talking about relationships. If I can't talk about what's bad, if I don't talk about what's good, a lot of people walking around and they only highlight talk to their partner when something going wrong, not when it's going right. So when you're ready to talk to me, I think it's on BS anyway, right? Think about who's going to listen to you if you always complaining, always saying stuff, always want to be hurt, always like that. So that's another thing. I always tell my couples, if you can't talk about what's good and feel that love bank on, I can't listen to you because I'm running on E. I'm running on emotions.
That's good.
So I can't even talk like that. And then just understanding that even when we having difficult conversations, we're gonna go back to again those intentions. What is my intentions for that? And sometimes it may need a disclaimer like, babe, you know what? Something on my mind. Do you got space? Hey, when you get home, I want to
Something's
run this
on my
by you.
mind.
Do you got
Something
space?
is on my mind. Do you have space? I need whoever's listening to this live, I need somebody to put that in the chat. That that's just not though, Renelle, for me. That's just not romantic. That is in life. I feel like if I was having a conversation with my mom or my sister or my brother, I have something I need to talk about. Do you have space? That's such a beautiful way of asking the question of, can I have something that's difficult on my heart? Can I talk to you for it? And not
And
only can I
seeing
talk to
them,
you about it,
and seeing them
yeah,
that they are a person and we need them. And
that's
we're
so
not just
good.
about to dump. It just make that same that I need you. Can you listen to me? And then responding and I see you because what's the biggest thing? I don't feel seen or heard.
Oh, that's so
Right. So just
beautiful.
creating that. And sometimes I like to say disclaimers. You know, well, can you help me figure this out? I need your opinion. Sometimes let me know where you have to go because sometimes we have people like you who want to jump in sometimes to save and don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So sometimes give them some direction because, and then you can start off like this, like, you know, Erika, I know you want to jump in and save me, but boo, can you just listen to me for a little while? I just want to run this across me. So then what I'm doing is I'm seeing what you do. I'm not using it against you. So I'm recognizing so you feel hurt and you're going to sit back.
Yeah.
Because now you don't have to be like this trying to jump in, figuring out what to do. You feel seen that I know you know what to do, and you can turn that switch off and chill.
That's good.
And then you have more effective listening because now you know your job, you feel recognized, and you feel important. So you're going to engage in the conversation.
100%. And I think too, um, although you said like you're talking romantically, I think that this covers so many multitudes of relationships. Because even with my teams, right? Like I do monthly one-on-ones, I do their coachings yearly to give them whatever ranking that they may rank for the year. And I always lead with what they have done, how they contribute to this team, how they contribute to the organization. And even though I land with certain things of this is how we can get better, these are some things that I think you can work on, they're a little bit lighter because they don't feel disposable. They don't feel like what they've done for the year because they have some things that they need to tune up on, that the
Right.
rest of the year was a waste. And so I think we can translate that. And even parenting, right? Like if I try to come to my daughter and say, you know, baby, I think there's some things you need to work on. What about also telling her the things that I already recognize, baby, you're doing well, but there's some other blind
Because you
spots
want to
that you
keep their
may not be
ears
able to
on.
see. You got
You
to
want to
keep their
keep their
ears on.
ear. So that's the key. The method is
Yes,
keeping the ears on. So you
keeping
know,
the
and
ears
sometimes
on.
you know if you know what call off, and we know the basic things like that you language. You know, going basic to communicate that you language. And sometimes
Yeah.
I feel somebody to death. I
Ooh,
feel. I'm like, damn, I wish I ain't learned this. I understand it, but you can I feel somebody to death. I understand the concept, but sometimes it just throw everybody off. You know, you can just do it like, you know, I feel sometimes this is this and this. You don't have to keep saying it, right?
yeah.
That's just my opinion. Because some
No,
stuff will
I
get
agree.
watered down because you can say it like this and it can be just as detrimental if it's you language.
Yeah.
So
Or I
then they
never
say,
write. So
yeah, yeah. Remember that intentions,
the
that tension.
intention.
And I heard you said, you know, before that intention is going to create that delivery and tone
100%.
because it's and
Yeah.
that body regulation is going to create all of that. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's key, but the key word that you said is effective communication.
Effective communicate. We could communicate and talk all day, but if it's not effective, it's not landing. And I think about too, like these definite statements of which I catch myself a lot saying, "You ain't never, you don't never." Those never things is not fair and it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And so working on those I never statements too, I would say kind of, put to the side like we do.
Yeah,
I feel like cool, you can feel. However, leave some of those away and
yeah, because
just make
they're
sure that
absolutes. They're
they're absolute
absolute.
and it's not giving them room for, okay, so if I ain't never doing something, if I'm never showing up, if I'm never doing this, then what's the point of me even trying to get better at it?
And what's the
So
point?
that
And even circle back to you with intention. If you never did it, why are you just now bringing it to me?
if I ain't never,
Yeah, so I'm like saying, okay, I can see this, but why did you wait this long? And somebody can come back at you. So that's the thing is, I want you to communicate before you get to that never. Hey, I think
yeah,
we have a misunderstanding. Let's do like that. Again, it's that intention and that desire to want to work it out. Everybody don't
yeah,
have a desire. So understand your intention and your desire and your willingness. These are three words that you're going to hear used in and out the bedroom because these are foundational words that you should always have in your vocabulary and to do a self and check audit with yourself to see your intentions and everything.
yeah, that's good. What has been your biggest communication struggle?
My biggest communication struggle probably would be that's a good one. My biggest communication struggle probably would be projection.
Give me more.
Projecting on what I think you should do instead of asking you what would you like to do and
Mm.
helping you form that formulation. So my intentions is to say, but I need to hear. So sometimes I'm guilty of projecting a lot of stuff and saying what you need instead of not what you want. So instead of listening,
Ooh.
I would just project on, well, what about this? And I'm not listening to see if that's what they need me to do. So keeping that all on, like keeping my emotions on safety. I care everybody keep your emotions and sometimes these projections on safety and be aware of them, because everything you want is not for everybody. That's not what they want. That's why I always say, so what do you want me to do with this? Hey, what do you feel? How can I
Yeah.
support you? Let me know where you want me to go. Now, if you open the door and ask for the opinion, that's something else. But sometimes people don't want your opinion. They just want you to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've started off some of my conversations, some of my darker conversations or tougher conversations, or even if a friend comes to me and say, I want to talk to you about something, right? It's not necessarily about me. Sometimes it's about romantic or at work or whatever it may be. And so my question has been, do you need me to listen right now, or would you like my input? And I think it has been so helpful in my
Mm-hmm.
friendships of being not the Erica that's trying to fix, not
Mm-hmm.
the Erica, I'm going to say judge. And I don't mean judgment in a bad way. I just mean, I don't know how else to say it, but not Erica who knows how to fix, not Erica that's trying to judge, but an Erica that's just here and present. And
Right.
it's been so transformative. And I probably used this over the last year of, how do you want me to support you in this moment? You want my feedback, or you want me to just chill? And you'll be surprised that some friends are like, no, I need your feedback in this moment. Then other friends are like, right now, I don't even know what I need. So can you just listen? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a helpful part of communication as well, as knowing what the other receiver is wanting from you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That willingness to ask them that too.
Yeah.
That willingness to ask. But see, that's setting up the intentions to want to just listen, the intentions to want to be heard. The intention is a lot of stuff, with intention and just feeling like you can be honest and you can be transparent and everything. So
Yeah.
safety is also a key, in trust and your projections. What do you want to do? Are you listening? Are you this? So I think a lot of it go to it. So I just say all that combined is effective and healthy communication. We gonna have our bad days, and that's what's gonna help with intentions. Is even when stuff go left, you can make it right. No,
Yeah.
I didn't mean it like that. How did you? My favorite thing is so sexy is me. What did you hear me say?
Ooh.
Right? Because we want to do the mirror. Why
Yeah.
them likes like, come baby, what did you hear me say? When stuff going left, be like, I'm not going there with you. What did you hear me just say? And all the, and
How did
then
I
it,
make it? Yes. Oh my
and
God, that's
then
so
that's
true.
just like me saying, and then they said, be like, no, I didn't mean it like that. Because I want the intentions for you to understand. So I'm not going to let a misunderstanding happen.
That's
What did
so
you hear me
good.
just say? Oh, I'm sorry you took it like that. I know my intent wasn't that, but I respect your impact. Thank you for letting me see this. This is what I mean. Right? Because it's two realities. Remember, we experience the same thing, but the meanings are different. The meanings are different, and that's where the communication comes to see what was your reality. This is my reality, and we're not fighting realities. We're just listening to
Mm-mm.
them and honoring them. And that's
Fighting
where the
reality
power
better be in
struggle.
the
When we
gas
say we
station.
don't feel like heard, right? When we feel like we're being heard, it's the power struggle. So I
Yes.
want you to do it this way. This is my way. No, this is my way.
Yes.
And it's that power struggle. So we got to make sure we don't have that.
That's that is so good,
Mm-hmm.
because the reality of a conversation or delivery of something that may be deemed disruptive is really because I want you to see me. I want you to see how I'm feeling right now. But then the other part of it is that the other person wants to be seen too. And so if you're coming at it with love and compassion and your intentions is pure, that's all you can ever ask for. And maybe sometimes, though, Renelle, we know this, that maybe at the end of the day, a relationship, whatever it may be, job, romantic, friendship, it may be dissolved by a conversation. But I think if we go into it with pure intentions, then you could just leave out
Respect
of it
the
like,
inspirit.
just
Respect. Add in
respect.
honor. Add that
Yes.
respect and just add every interaction I have is a dialogue with data.
Yeah.
Data is used for interpretation, right? So we know that can be seen based on how we feel inside, making sure we understand that and not use it against our partner, and just that respect. And then think of stuff more like an experience. If we think of stuff more like an experience, I'm experiencing this, and let me see how can I join on this experience. See if that make it lighter. And if you don't understand a word, when somebody say, like, just say we say intimacy or respect, stop, like, you know what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Because we get caught up in narratives or words or societal words, and we think everything that we got these same universal meanings, and they don't. And sometimes that's the miscommunication, right? So we got to understand that where I'm sitting, I want to say, I want to be more intimate with you. You're thinking about sex, and I just want you to just cuddle with me on the couch.
Talk to him.
Okay. And just like with a disclaimer, we go into the disclaimer is, hey, let's talk about what happened yesterday. Okay, I'm thinking that you want to talk about this, but I want to talk about that. So we already sitting down with two different perspectives.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good communication. Be like, hey, what part of it do you want to talk about? Or what part? Just don't assume when you sit down, y'all on the same page, because y'all already on two different perspectives.
Talk.
Right? So make sure of that. You got to understand, and then that's the intention. If I want to be intentional about something, I'll be like, hey, Erika, I really want to talk to you about that conversation we had yesterday, because I think we misunderstood. Then you ask me, what part? Right?
You don't get to assume. You ask. Oh,
yeah. Because if we don't, it's left up into interpretation, and we sit down that we need to talk. I think we want to heal, and you want to argue. So I'm thinking coming in with love, and you coming in with these bullet points, all the stuff I didn't do. So my confusion became taken as reluctance, because I'm like, and you like, oh, you don't agree with, like, no, I just don't know where all this came from. Right? So understand that when we sit down, we may see the intentions may not be our intentions, but may not be our partners or whoever we're talking to. I think about when you say about you sitting down with your team, they think they're about to get in trouble, and you want to boost them up and show them where they improve. So they already coming like this.
Lighten up. And not knowing that I already know that it's the ability to make someone feel seen and loved prior to the delivery.
We got to keep the ears on.
Gotta keep the ears on.
We got to keep their ears on. If not, they're going to fall off.
Oh, God. Okay. You hit me with a lot at the end. Listen, we're about to close here soon. But I have to touch on, if we could talk about, for the folks on here having sex, because I'm not. Okay? But this is, I ain't. Okay? And don't even have me get into this. It's been some years, but it ain't none of
identify you are a sexual goddess and being without even insertion.
Yeah.
So you don't need insertion for that.
I'm not, but since we're here, and I know a lot of married people, and I know not even just married, but just people who engage in sex, which is fine. I want you to talk to them about the importance of sex and communication, because I know this is pretty much the forefront of like a lot of the work that you do, which I absolutely love. But if you can just talk to the people about how sex and communication intertwines and what that should look like, I think that would be very helpful to end.
Sex and communication. Well, I always say communication is a lubrication for sex. Communication is lubrication. When you apply it, everything goes so smoothly, and it, in fact, in and out the bedroom. So it's the good thing is, before we talk about in the bedroom, we got to make sure we feel like a team, safe and trusted outside the bedroom, right? So I can tell you that, that I really don't like this position, or I want to try this. So communication is key to just be able for me to feel safe, trust in an environment that I can experience and share. Right? But then we're going to draw in everything we talked about today: desire, willingness, and emotional regulation. Same thing should be used in and out the bedroom. We don't want in the bedroom, we got different communication. You are effective to me, and then outside the bedroom, you're not listening to me.
Talk.
Right? We don't want that. So everything I'm saying, it can be used in and out the bedroom because we want the same experience, right? We want to experience, and we want to experience different things. Like we say, like, sex is not what you can do to me, it's where you can take me. But for you to go there, you got to let me know where you want to go. What do you want to feel? What do you like and what you didn't like, spitting that game, but that comes from communication, desire, intention, and willingness. So communication is going to be the key, but emotional regulation is the master key. So if you tell me the sex is garbage, I'm not all in your face. Hopefully you don't say garbage, but when I hear something, I don't hear more of what I'm not doing instead of what do you prefer and what you want me to do. Right? We didn't even talk about that selective hearing, right? We didn't even talk about that.
Good, though.
That's not hurt.
Oh, one more time, Renelle. What is it about? What is it not about? It's not about what
sex is not what you can do to me, is where you can take me. And I saw that quote somewhere. I can't say here it is, it's not mine, but it's like not where you can what you can do to me, where you can take me. So we go on that because we want sex to be more as experience. Sex can be an act and everything like that, but it's still experience. And we want to experience it, we got to talk about what we want to entail and experience.
And like you said, it's not about telling the person what they're not doing. It's about telling them what you need them to do.
And even if we take telling out, because I'm really into words, it's sharing, it's education, and exploring. Change different words. When you say a word in communication and it make you do like this and it make your partner or so, change the word, take the word out.
I love that.
Like, I know people say, I don't want to tell nobody how to treat my body. If you don't tell them, they're going to treat you like they treat everybody else.
Talk to them.
You're not telling them. You educating them of what you want and what you desire. You're not telling them, you're sharing. You're educating them, right? You're exploring. Hey, I like this. I want this. And I think that's different because telling means something. And we come from the knowledge base, assume that they know how to please us. They don't. That's why they need to know. Teach them how to love you better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That experience word just hit me differently. So thank you for that. Because it is true. How I want to be experienced versus trying to tell you this.
And what do your partner want to experience? Co-creating, not compromise. We co-creating in a wonderful and pleasurable experience.
I love it. It's not just about you guys. It's about the entire unit. So even when you talk about communication, yes, you want to say the things that you want to say. You want to explain the things that you want to explain, but also remember that there's some other amazing person on the other side of that wants to experience the conversation as well in a healthy and productive way.
If they have
Renelle, if they have, you heard what she said. If they have space, because that matters too. So watch who you dating, who you talking to, because if they don't have space, all this is mute. But hopefully you are in mutual beneficial relationships that wants to see you flourish as much as you want to see them flourish, and maybe different love languages and different ways of explaining things. But if you're with the right person, I think you guys can get to a place of mutual experience. That's my new word, boo. It's the mutual experience. Thank you so much. This has been incredible. I love you so much. Thank you for your yes to me. Today it's a Saturday. You could be doing anything, and I don't know how it is where you're at in Arizona, but Dallas is popping, it's pretty. But yet we chose to give people free therapy, and for me, that's enough. It's enough for me, and I just always thank you for your yes and your friendship and your sisterhood. I don't take it for granted. And I think that the people probably got so much out of this today. Before we leave, you already know I want to know. And I already looked back at your old answer when we did our live.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you better not, because I'm going to correct you. So tell me one thing you absolutely love about yourself.
Oh, I love now my ability to pivot.
Do tell. Pivot.
I just love the ability to pivot. Now I'm not staying stuck. If something don't work, I just pivot. Something don't work. I'm not staying no more environments that don't support me or conversations or positions. I can just pivot out of it. And sometimes it's the same thing, but I'm not going to keep doing the same thing expecting a different result. So I just pivot. So it's just like that, because sometimes you be so married to the idea. I'm divorcing ideas, right? And changing my narrative. So I like pivot.
Okay. That was not your answer last time. So here we go.
I'm evolving. I'm evolving.
Your evolve game is so whoa. And everybody that's on the live, of course, you know, we're gonna ask you the same question. We don't have time to sit here and watch them, so I'll put it on the replay. Let me know what is one thing that you absolutely love about yourself. Renelle, before you go, tell everybody where and how they can connect with you, and I'll be able to put it back in the playback too as well. But let people know where they can find you.
Okay, so for Renelle is Renelle Nelson, E. Nelson Coaching and Consultation for Therapy in Arizona, Wisconsin is Kaleidoscope Services. You can find me on Instagram at Noir Sex Therapist, or Instagram at Affair Aftercare.
Period. And you guys already know where you can find me. I'm on YouTube. I'm Erika Genice. Instagram, Erika Genice, and www.I'mErikaGenice.com. Thank you guys so much for sharing and giving us an hour of your time today. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. Renelle, don't charge me. I'm sorry, girl, but we needed it. I love you. I love everybody. Thank you for pulling up. You'll catch the replay. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Thanks, Renelle.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.